Hey guys, the cat is a lie here. I've had several people ask me questions on how to make these crochet ear savers that you can use to put across the back of your head and attach to the elastic of your face mask. Keep the mask up off your ears and to keep it secure to your face. We've made several of these on stream together, but I wanted to do a slower video and talk you through it for those of you who haven't been able to be there. So just kick back, relax, and let's get to the tutorial. All right, let's first go through what you're going to need as far as supplies. So you're gonna need a small amount of worsted weight or DK weight cotton yarn. Cotton specifically because it's easiest to be washed and sterilized. Next, you're gonna need a crochet hook that is either a size H or 5mm, or to obtain the proper gauge, which we'll go over shortly. You'll want 2 buttons sized at about 3/4 of an inch or larger. You'll need a darning needle and a sewing needle. And you'll need some thread and scissors. You are going to want to make a slip stitch or a slip knot to start your project. The easiest way to do this is to wrap it around your finger, cross over so you have an X, and I usually slip that off and hold it tight. I come through the work here, grab the yarn with the hook and pull it through there. So you've got a loop now, and I take both ends in my hand and pull them down to tighten. You've got a slip knot now. Next, you're going to do 20 to 25 chains, depending on which will get you what size you're looking for. The size that has been working for most people I've made these for has been 7 inches. So you're going to want to chain. You may take a little bit of practice kind of going through and seeing how many chains will get you to 7 inches at the end, but on a DK weight yarn, this is 25 stitches. So you'll chain by you take your hook, go around the back, get up underneath the hook, and pull straight through the hook that's on, or the loop that's on your project. Do that 25 times. 1, 2, 3, oops, 4, 5, 23, 24, and 25. All right, next, you're gonna be wanting to do a half double crochet in the second chain from the hook. You have one on your hook here, you have another, and that's the second one right there. So you'll skip this one and work in this. Now, the anatomy of a chain here is you'll wanna work through this top part. If you're working with the yarn sort of flat on your finger so it looks like a braid, you don't wanna come down into the bottom or through the center one. I'm gonna go in this top V. To make a double crochet, you'll wrap once around your yarn, go through that top loop, pick up the yarn with the hook, and come through. And you'll wrap once more around your hook and pull through all 3 stitches. That's a half double crochet. To do that again, in the next stitch, go around the back, through that top loop, pull through, loop one more time, pull through, around, through that top loop, hook and pull through, around, pull through all 3. You'll do that until you have 1 stitch remaining. Okay, there we go. There's our last stitch before the last one. You see your very last stitch here. It's right next to that slip knot down here. You're gonna make 3 half double crochets in that same space. Go 1 in there, gonna go right back into that same hole, and then one more time. same hole. Now, typically with crocheting, you would turn your work this way. In this project, we're actually turning our project 180 degrees. So we're turning it upside down. So here's where we're at right now. You're just going to grab the bottom of your project and just pull it up towards you. Kind of an advanced-ish or intermediate technique for sewing in your ends here is if you take this tail and just sort of hold it along the back of your project, you'll be able to weave that in as you go. Now this is your last chain from the hook right here. To continue this project, if you turn it towards yourself, you should see little V's formed across the top. You should see these little V's, V, V. What you're gonna do is find the first one past the slip knot. Here's your slip knot, your last space and the slip knot, and half double crochet in that first space where the V is right here. You go in, and you'll do this all the way back across your project. And to show you how I'm weaving that tail in, you grab your yarn and you go through. You can see that I've got the tail of the yarn kind of under where I come around, so it kind of grabs it underneath. And don't worry if you can't do that, we'll just weave the ends in. It's not a big deal. That just can make it a little easier on you at the end. All right, we've got 1, 2, 3 stitches left here. So let's do our last 3 half double crochets. 1 and 2. And in this very last space here, this very last spot right where you started, you're gonna do 3 half double crochets in that spot like you did at the other end to give it that nice rounded, completed look. All right, now you're gonna slip stitch to finish. So you see this very first V right here, past where you're working. You will take your hook and go through both of those loops, grab your project yarn, and bring it up. Now instead of looping it all, you're gonna just pull it straight through that loop. And to finish it off, you will trim your yarn. And now take your hook, wrap this around one time, and just pull it straight through. Grab your yarn and just pull that tight. We'll anchor that down when we darn the project together. All right, with your wider-eyed needle that will work better with yarn, pick up your project and feed that yarn through the eye of the needle. You're gonna weave this in just to secure it. So if you look to the front of the project looks nice and neat and smooth, the back of the project should look a little more raised. It doesn't really matter which side you put this in on. You can see here the 2 double bars for each of your crochets. All you're going to do is slip your needle between those 2 stitches, back for about 5 stitches, and draw the yarn through. There's 3 stitches, 4 stitches, 5 stitches, and then just draw your yarn straight through. Pull everything kind of nice and secure, and you'll just trim this end off with your scissors. Oops, still attached from before. Just go ahead and trim that as close as you can without cutting any other thread. There you go. If you have a little bit of a tail that's still hanging off, you'll either want to weave that through, or if you did the advanced technique like I did, hiding your stitch, just trim it off. My scissors are a little dull, give me one moment. And flip your project back over to the front side. Next, you're gonna wanna take your yarn or your embroidery thread. I use embroidery thread because I think it holds up a little bit better. And take off a couple inches of embroidery thread, give it a trim. You're gonna wanna use a needle that can both thread the embroidery thread and get through your buttonholes. Go ahead and thread your yarn into the eye of your needle. Take your button and place it on your work. To be sure that you're anchoring your stitches, I try to make sure that I'm picking up corner stitches to hold it. So I'm gonna come up through this set of V's into my yarn, and I'm gonna go back down my next stitch into this set of V's. Then I'm gonna find this set of V's and come up into my hole. And then I'm gonna go through my last hole, go down through the top, and come through this set of V's. You see it's anchored around yarn at every location. You really only need to go once just to get these handled in place. Then you flip it over and tie a secure knot. Go ahead and trim your yarn ends off. And my scissors are a little dull. And repeat that on the other end of your project. Once you're done, you'll be able to have the project looking just like this. Give it a nice stretch, measure it out to see how long it is for you, and go ahead and make about a 5-stitch increase or decrease to move the project either an inch longer or shorter based on your needs. There you have it, guys. Just some quick, simple ear savers for you to be able to share with people in your life who may need them, to give them a break from that mask elastic rubbing in on their ears and keeping their mask secure to their faces. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comments below, and I will do my best to get back at them and help you. And don't forget, I'll be live Mondays and Thursdays from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time on twitch.tv/thecatisalive. Thanks for watching, you guys. We'll see you later. Bye.